think you can build this?
Wow, what a mess. Hmm. Looks like, encrypted RF transmissions. Okay, so that gets routed through... What the hell? Teleportation. This is some pretty crazy shit. You sure it's for real?
Either it is, or we end up building one hell of a paperweight.
Well, whoever wrote this does seem to know what they're talking about. Could be a genius or totally insane. Guess we'll find out. Anyway, the eggheads never think about the nuts and bolts of actually making something work. But, looks like it's all here. Yeah, I'm gonna need some time to study this thing. The handwriting's pretty hard to make out. But, you can get started on what he calls a stabilized reflector platform. It'll need some pretty high-grade metals, but it's basically not that different than the lining of a jet engine or something like that.
Can you give me a list of what I'll need to build this platform?
Yeah, sure. Here's a list of what you'll need for the first piece. I'm pretty sure we've got all that at Sanctuary, if you want to build it there. While you're working on that, I'll get busy figuring out how to actually build the rest of this thing. Keep in mind, I can already see this is gonna take a crazy amount of juice. Like if you had a spare nuclear reactor handy, we could probably use it. And it's going to be big. So find a nice open building site with lots of power available. Did you find a good spot to build your signal interceptor?
There's a giant metal pizza sitting on the ground now, so yeah.
I was just asking. No need for the snide remarks. I think I got the rest of this contraption figured out. Here's a list of 3 things that may be harder to find. I think I'll be able to pull together everything else we're gonna need. I'll meet you over at the building site and see if we can actually make this thing work. Console to input the code and process the signal. 2, what he calls a relay dish. That's what intercepts the, a teleporter signal. 3, a molecular beam emitter. It's pretty technical here, but looks like this is what translates your matter into energy for transmission. 4, the stabilized reflector platform that you already built. That's what concentrates and reflects the molecular beam. One thing to keep in mind while you're building this, it all needs to be wired together so all the pieces can talk. I'll see you over at the building site.
To each life some rain must fall, but too much is falling in mine. Into each heart some tears must fall, but someday the
This isn't gonna do anything without power.
Just gotta make sure we've got enough power.
This isn't gonna do anything without power. This isn't gonna do anything without power.
Made it another day. Guess we did something right.
I can barely tell us apart.
Make sure it's all on the same grid. All the parts have got to be able to talk to each other, you know.
Sturgis.
Everything looks good on my end. You ready to see if this thing actually works?
Let's do this.
You sure? Okay. Your part is simple. Just step onto the platform. I'll start scanning for an Institute signal to lock onto. Just get on the platform. I'll do the rest. Getting cold feet? I don't blame you. Ah, damn it. Now I've got to calibrate everything all over again.
Hey, Sturgis.
Everything looks good on my end. You ready to see if this thing actually works?
Shouldn't we?
I wish we could, but we've only got the one frequency code. There's no way to test it without actually jacking into the Institute signal. And as soon as we do that, as soon as the Institute figures out what we did, and I gotta believe those brainiacs won't be caught napping twice, that code we've got is useless.
Let's do this.
You sure? I'll start scanning for an Institute signal. Whenever you're ready. Okay, hold real still. I don't want any corruption of the molecular beam. Oh yeah, by the way, I figured this was a golden opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. Yeah, this holotape's all set with a program that will scan their network and download anything it finds. Uh-oh. Yeah, we better hurry. And don't worry about that tubing wiggling around. It's, just there for decoration. Okay. Scanning for the Institute signal. Tracking RF. And... got it. Hold on to your butt.
Hello. I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator. I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research, Countless experiments and trials. A shared vision of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy. And our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
Oh, goddamn them. So many years stolen.
Who are you?
Sean, where is everyone?
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Yes, it's me, your dad. I'm here, Sean.
What's going on? Father? Father!
I'll kill them for this. All of them.
I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here, help me!
Who is Father? Where is he?
Father? Father, help me! He's trying to take me! Father? Father, help me!
Sean. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional. And that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute. I hope
Father? That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute, just as...
I want answers, asshole. Now.
Under the circumstances, I will forgive your vulgarity, but I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Sean. I am your son.
Bullshit.
Is it? After all the things you've seen and experienced in the Commonwealth? Think about it. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality. And here I am, raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
But why? Why take a child? Why take you?
Ah, now that's the question, isn't it? Why me? At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate.
I think I see where this is going.
Then perhaps you already understand why it was necessary for the Institute. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this way, even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
I don't believe you. There's no way.
I wish there was something to say. I know this isn't what you wanted. But it's the only truth I can offer you.
You're my son? Then prove it. Now.
I've already told you how I came to be here. I don't. I've shown you my trust. Your weapons haven't been confiscated, and I stand unarmed before you. Please, let's just talk.
If this is true, where do we start?
I know you must have questions. Please, anything I can do to help you understand.
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
They're scared of you, Sean. Scared of the Institute.
People are always frightened by what they don't understand. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Collateral damage? Is that all she was to you?
What would you have me say? The world is a dangerous place? Although I think maybe it always was. It's just a bit more honest about it now. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, but you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty, I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. I know there's more for us to discuss, but the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
Maybe. I don't know. This is so much to take in.
I know. And I am sorry. You have been through so much in such a short time. The Institute can provide a better life than anything above ground. You've been in the Commonwealth. You've seen what it's like. I assure you that you are better off with us.
I don't know what to do.
I realize that. It's why I'm trying to help you. I hope that you can see that rationally. The Institute is the only... I simply ask that you give the Institute... We really do have humanity's best interest at heart. Will you take that chance?
Are you sure you want this?
Yes, I am. It would benefit us both to work together.
I'm sorry. I can't do that.
I'm sorry to hear that. I had certainly hoped we could work together. But every man must make his own decisions. If you choose to leave, I cannot force you to stay. Understand, though, that I cannot allow you to remain within the Institute. You may have safe passage back to the relay, where you will be sent back to the surface. But from that point, you must be considered hostile. I am sorry. I must think first of the safety of the Institute. And in the cruel world that has developed, those who are not with us are against us. The elevator will return you to the relay.
Contact detected? Possibly.